A very good morning, students. I hope every one of you is in your best health and all of you are staying indoors. So, in our previous lecture, we were reading about control and coordination, and we read about control and coordination in animals. And today, we will be discussing about control and coordination in plants. Since we all know that plants do not have nervous system like us, they don't have sense organs like eyes, ears, nose, etc. But they can also smell, sense, and sense certain things like they can respond to chemicals, to water, to touch, etc. So if they don't have any nervous system, how are they able to sense all these things? They can respond actually to the stimuli or whatever there is a change in the environment. So they can do all these things by the help of the chemical which is called as plant hormones. Plant hormones, or we can also call it as phytohormones, because phyto is the word which stands for plants and hormones, you all know what are the hormones. Hormones are the chemical messengers. So plants have majorly four types of hormones that are: first one is auxins, second is gibberellins, then cytokinins and abscisic acid. So first we will be discussing about auxins. Auxins are the hormones which control the plant's growth, and they also respond to the phototropic and geotropic movement. Phototropic means the response to the light, and geotropic means the response to the gravity. Now these are the hormones which also promotes the cell enlargement and cell differentiation, and they also promote the fruit growth. This hormone, actually, what happens when the plant grows in the shoot, so they will be opposite to the light. Okay, so where there is a more source of light, the hormone production will be lesser, and where there is less light, these hormone will produce in large number, and they will give the more growth to the plant. And in the bottom, like in the root system, there will be lesser growth, so they don't allow the roots to grow more in the soil, but they allow the shoot to grow more. Okay, so these are the hormones which are responsible for the root and shoot, because they are present in the shoot tips and root tips. They are produced by the cell. So these are the very important hormones. So next is gibberellins. These are the hormones which helps in the breaking of dormancy of seeds. Dormancy of seed is that seed becomes dormant when there is not any favorable conditions, like when the season is not favorable to the seeds to grow or the plants to grow. The seed becomes dormant. The cell wall becomes very hard, and it becomes so thick, so that all the embryo becomes safe inside the cell, inside the cotyledons. That is why the seed or the embryo can survive for a longer period of time, and the shell or the cell of that seed becomes very hard. Okay, so that is called the seed dormancy. So gibberellins helps in breaking the dormancy of seeds, and they helps the shoots to come out of the seeds, or they also helps to come out the buds from the plants. So they basically they help in the promotions or the growth of the fruits and the shoot extensions, and they also help in the elongation of the shoots or the stems of the plant. Okay, gibberellins. Then the next is cytokinins. Cytokinins is the hormones which promote cell division in plants. That means these also help in the breaking of the dormancy of seeds. They also helps to seeds to germinate, and they also delay the aging of leaves. So they don't allow the leaves to get old, so they will help the leaves to survive for a longer period of time on the plants. And they also help in the opening of the stomata, and they also help in the fruit growth. So all these three hormones which we have just studied about, auxins, gibberellins and cytokinins, all these three hormones helps in the growth of the fruit and in the growth of the plants. But there is only one hormone, that is abscisic acid, which do not help in the promotion of the fruits, and it also hinders the growth of the plant. That means this is the only hormone which works against the growth of the plant. That means they will promote the dormancy of seeds. That means they will allow the seeds to become dormant, or when it is not fertilized. Dormancy is the stage when the seed is not fertile. At that period of time, it becomes hard and it do not germinate. Like you would have seen in this season itself, your mother will be sowing the ladyfinger seeds or okra seeds. So they are very hard. So you would have seen your mother soaking them in the water for a night, and then the next morning they and sow the seeds in the field. So that soaking the seeds in the that water over a night, they helps to become the seed coat so soft, so that the plant can germinate out of that. So abscisic acids promote the dormancy of seeds and the buds, and it also is responsible for the closing of the stomata, and it promotes the wilting, the falling of the leaves, and the detachment of the fruit from the tree when the fruit is ripe. These abscisic acids, this is a plant hormone actually. It allows the fruit to fall from the tree branches down by itself. So it falls down due to the presence of the abscisic acid or abscisic acid hormone. So these are the only this is the hormone which works against the growth. Rest the other three hormones works in the favor of the growth of the plant. Okay, so these are the hormones which are in your book. You have to study about them. Okay, now coming to the plant's movement. Plant movement are of two types generally, that is called as tropism and nestes. Now tropism is the movement of the plant which depends into the direction of growth, or it helps in the growth of the plant, because the movement of the plant is usually caused by the unequal growth in the two regions. Okay, so there is an unequal growth, and this plant hormone which comes under the influence of stimulus, it happens like example the auxin hormone, which is present in the meristematic tissues. This helps in the tip of the stem. Now auxin hormones speed up the growth of the stem. So if one side of a stem has more auxin than the other side of the stem will have the lesser auxin, and which is having the more auxin will grow faster, and which is having the less auxin will grow the slower. I will show you the help of a little diagram. Like if it is a plant, okay, so here in this side there is a more auxin means more growth, and there is less auxin, and here is more auxin. Okay, so which this side is having more auxin, so it will grow, and this is having lesser auxin, so it will not grow very fast. Since it is growing very speedily and it is not growing, so it will tend the stem to bend a little. It will bend like this. I hope you understand. It will bend like this. The plant will bend like this. So because of this, the plant become bent, and it happens when there is light. When we will see the phototropism movement, it will cause, auxin will cause the phototropic movement, as we have just studied that auxin causes the phototropic and geotropic movement. So we will be studying this. So all these movements which are directional, which are in a certain direction, are called as tropic movement. That means whenever the growth movement of a plant is in the response of an external stimulus, like stimulus is the change in the environment. So these plants, these are directly, they are going in the direction of the stimulus. So that is called as tropic movement or tropism. So it can be of two types, that is a positive or a negative response or stimulus. So we will be discussing this. So now tropism or tropic movement. So plant shows two types of movement, that is tropic movement and the nestic movement or nestes, which I have written here. So now tropic movement is a growth movement of plants in response to any external stimulus, in which the direction of stimulus determines the direction of response. That means wherever we are having any stimulus, so the plant is giving response to that particular direction. Now stimulus can be anything, like any external source from the environment, like heat or chemicals or water itself. They all are as stimulus. So it can be of two types when the growth of a plant is towards the stimulus. Like if example, the sunflower always moves in the direction of the sun, so it is moving to the direction of the stimulus. So here the stimulus is phototropism. Photo means light, and the sunflower, the movement of the flower is moving towards the light, so that is a phototropism movement, and it is moving towards the stimulus, so that will be a positive tropism. And the other one is negative tropism, is if the growth of a plant is away from the stimulus, like if it is going away from the stimulus, that means it is a negative stimulus. Okay, so or a negative tropism. So now type of tropism. There are six or five types of tropism. They are phototropism, geotropism, chemotropism, hydrotropism, and thigmotropism. Now tropism, which responses to the light stimulus is called as phototropism, which responses to the gravity stimulus is called as geotropism, which responds to chemical is called as chemotropism, and which responds to the water is called as hydrotropism, and the response to touch is called as thigmotropism. Now we will be reading example of this phototropism first. In your discussing with the help of this, here is the diagram and here is the activity 7.2. In this activity we have to take a conical flask and we have to fill this with water. Into this we have to keep a wire mesh on the top of the conical flask. Wire mesh means jar. Okay, so we'll keep that here, and on top of it we will place some freshly germinated seeds of bean seeds in which the plant is growing. So since here is the water and these seeds are on the top of this, so after a few days we'll see that the plant is growing. So the shoot are growing in the upward direction and the roots is growing in the lower direction towards the water. So we will keep this flask in a cardboard box which is open from only the one sides, and we have to place it in such a manner so that the light can enter the box from this side. So after a few days we will notice that the shoot is bending towards the light and the root is moving away from the light. Now this is called as the phototropism because the plant is acting towards the light and it is showing the movement towards the light, and this is showing the movement against the light. So here we can see the example of both, that is positive tropism which is moving towards the light, direction to the light, and here is the stimulus which is light, so these roots are moving away from the light. So this is an example of negative tropism. Okay, now what happens, what is the hormone which is responsible in this tropism? That is auxin hormones. Since we have just studied about this hormone, that auxin hormone is responsible for the growth of the plant. It gives the growth to the shoot more and it reduces the growth of the root. That is why the plant becomes so long, the shoot, but roots does not become so long. So it acts opposite to the roots, but it acts very high in the shoot. So when the plant is when example here I will show you, like if a plant is very small, okay, these are the leaves. So if like this plant is very small and it is the sun is falling from the upward direction, so all the oxygen which is present in the tip of the plant will spread evenly, so the plant will grow in the straight height evenly. But when the light is falling from this direction only and the plant is this, so all the oxygen will hide in left side, this side, because oxygen does not like sunlight. Okay, so it will hide against this. Since there is more oxygen in this side and will be less oxygen in this side, so this side will grow more and this side does not have much oxygen, so this will not grow. That is why the plant will grow from this side but not grow from this, and the shoot will bend like this. But in the case of roots, it acts oppositely. So here there is more light in the roots, so the oxygen will be hiding here in this side, and the side which is more oxygen will not grow, and the side where more oxygen will lesser oxygen will grow. So the roots which are exposed to sunlight grows more, and the roots which are hidden in the ground does not grow more. Okay, so oxygen does not allow the root to grow more, but it allows the shoot to grow more. But where there is more sunlight, there is lesser oxygen. When sunlight is reaching only at the one part, so the oxygen will transfer to the dark part, so that the dark part will grow more and it will bend the shoot towards the direction of light. So this is how the oxygen works. So the other example for geotropism, that is to the gravity, we will just till this pot like this, and after a few days we'll see that the root is growing to the downward direction and the shoot is growing to this direction. So this is a negative geotropic movement, that is shoot is going against the direction of the gravity, and gravity here is acting as a stimulus, and here also stimulus, but this is a positive geotropic movement and this is the negative geotropic movement. So these are the tropic movement which shows the plant growth. Okay, and these growth which have direction in them are called as tropics, and which do not have direction or any growth are called as nasties. And we are discussing about tropic first. So now moving to the next, The next is chemotropism, and the growth of a plant due to the chemical stimulus is called as chemotropism. In this, it is seen in the flowering plants since the plants undergo sexual mode of reproduction, and there are different organs like androecium and gynoecium. In the androecium, the pollen grains, the pollen travels to the female part of the flower. So the pollen tubes, which are towards the ovule, they have some stimulus due to the pollen grains, which is due to the chemotropism. So the stigma in the carpel of the flower, I hope you remember all these terms, so I'm not going into deep into that. So just understand that whenever the pollen grain sticks, when the pollen grain, like it is a pollen grain here, and this is the stigma of the flower. So when it comes here, then the pollen tubes begins to grow, and they allows the this pollen grain to move to the pollen tube, so that it can go to the ovary here in the bottom. This is the style. Okay, so it is sent to the ovary only because of this chemotropism. So the flower allow the pollen grains to move into the through the pollen tube to the ovary because of this chemotropism. Okay, so the next is hydrotropism. Hydrotropism is the response of the plants towards the water. Now here the water is acting as a stimulus. So in this, you would have seen the plants which you water daily. The roots of those plants go straight, but you would have seen some roots of the plants bent in the search of water. So because they go in the need of water, because plants need water to survive, the roots absorb water from the soil. So if the availability of water is very easy for the plant, then the plant will just grow in the normal direction. But if the plant does not have water, so it will grow in the direction of the water. Here I will explain you with this example. In this we are having a straw, and we will have some normal soil, and then we will germinate a plant here. So when there is moist soil, the root does not have to struggle for the water, so root will grow normally in a straight direction. But if you will just keep the water away from the plant root, the root will tends to move towards the water. So this is an example of positive hydrotropism, because plants need water to grow, and the roots will move in the direction of the water. Then it is thigmotropism. Thigmotropism means the movement of the plants towards the touch. Now touch means that you would have seen many climbers. So the climbers have tendrils, that thin tendrils like this. Okay, now this is the season, summer season, almost started raining, so you would be seeing many climbers. So tendrils have the cells which can sense their contact with any nearby solid objects, like any stick or any wire. So they touch the object, and the sides of the tendril in which are in the contact of the object grow slowly than its other side. So this causes the tendrils to bend towards the object. By they just wind up the things to whatever things they are growing, and they just intertwine itself into the that object and cling to it. And then this winding movement helps in the plant or that climber to climb up on that. So it is an example of thigmotropism. Okay, so tendrils show the thigmotropism. You would have seen so much of tendrils and the climbers, such as pumpkin climber and then bottle gourd climber, etc. So these were the examples of tropic movements. Now next is these all tropic movements were showing the growth in a particular direction to the stimulus. Now next is the nasties, or called as the nastic movements, which do not grow in any direction. It just grow in any direction of the plant itself, so it does not show any growth. The movement of plant part in response to an external stimulus, in which the direction of response is not determined by the direction of stimulus, is called as nastic movement. So there is no direction of the movement. The plant can move in any direction. They do not tend to move in the direction of the stimulus, like they will not move to the direction of the sunlight or any kind of a thing. Okay, so that is called as nasties. So it can also be two types, like thigmonasty and photonasty. Now thigmonasty is a non-directional movement of a plant part in response to the touch. Now thigmo, we have just read about thigmo, but that was thigmotropism. Okay, so thigmotropism means touch. Now because it is tropism, so it will show in a direction, but it is a nasty which do not show any direction. So thigmo means touch and nasty means non-directional touch. Okay, so this is a very common we have seen in touch me not plant. Touch me not plant is called as chew me plant in Hindi, and in scientific language we call it Mimosa pudica. Okay, now Mimosa pudica, whenever you touch the leaves of that plant, you have seen the leaves just folds and they droop down. Okay, so they're not fresh and alive, so they just fold themselves and they droop down. We don't have any in our book. Now, why is this so? Because whenever we touch that plant, it shows a response, but the response is not in any direction. They will just droop down. The response will not in the direction of the touch, so they do not show any growth, but they do sense and they do response. Now what happened, since plants does not have any nervous system like us, whenever we feel any heat, there are motor neurons and then nerve impulse, electrical impulse and all, they go to our brain and message and transfers and all, but they do not have this, plant do not have this all. But what happened, whenever we touch the leaf, on the surface of the leaf there are some chemicals present which tells the plant, okay, so because in our hand there might be some ions, so when there is an increased number of ions on the surface of the plant, a chemical secretes and they tell it that there's, okay, now the concentration of iron is more outside, so there is an osmosis. Okay, exosmosis, the water will move to the outer direction and it will draw all the water from the cells, and the cells will become shrink and the root leaves will droop down. Also, whenever we touch any plant, it folds because they have some pad like swellings on them. Then this also have this contains a lot of water on them, on the cells, and due to the internal pressure in them, this internal pressure is also called as turgor pressure. So it was very firm and very spongy in time when we were not touching it, and they are upright, they are just normal leaves, but when we touch it, the leaves become sensitive and they folds because of the loss of the water, since the water is drained out. And this is all done because of the electrical impulse which act as a plant hormone. So the hormone is responsible, and the plant hormone makes the water to travel from the cell, and then when the water is gone, the leaf will be shrink. When the water is moved out, it becomes the shrinkage of the cell, and due to that the leaves droop down and the plant becomes so droopy and it just folds the leaves. Okay, so this is the reason of thigmonasty, but it is a nastic movement which do not show any direction. Now next is photonasty. We have seen many flowers which opens when there is a bright sun, and whenever the lilies, especially lilies, they just open, they just blossom when there is sunlight, and when there is no sun they just folds. So the folding and the closing of the flowers because of the light, so light is photo and nasty is the reaction to the stimulus, but the flower is not changing its shape or any it's not moving towards the light, it just glowing because of the presence of sun, and when there is no sunlight it is just folding down. So that is the photonasty. Okay, so non-directional movement of a plant. So this is your two movements of plant, that is tropic movement and nastic movements. I hope it's clear. Now at last we'll conclude with the functional hormones. Now hormones are very responsible to the plants. They show all type of movement. They are help in the germination of seeds. They are help in the growth of roots and shoots and leaves. They also helps in the movement of stomata, closing and opening of stomata. They help in the flowering of plants, ripening of fruits, then breaking down the fruit from the trees, and also they show the tropic and nastic movement. So these are the hormones which we have finished about, and that one topic is left, that is animal hormones or human hormones, that we'll be discussing in our next lecture. Till then, please read these all the topics from your book and let me know what are your queries so that I can solve them. And till then, please do all your homework and see the video, and please study the book. You have to study the book. Okay, so stay safe and work hard. Thank you.